greetings, and thank you so much for joining us live on the CollaborativeU TV. I am your host, Thea Aldridge, and I am super excited because every week we come on to inspire, empower, and educate you. And so today we have an amazing and a special show. And this show is special because there are a lot of us ladies, yeah, men, we care about you too, right? But today's show is really about helping women who are really looking for something different in life. They're looking for their soul calling, right? It's like you know something's missing. It's the career, you've been in it for a minute, you know you like it, but you just think that's not it.
Mhm.
So I brought a special guest. Oh my gosh, metaphysician. I mean, you know what? I'm gonna let her tell you all about who she is. But welcome to the Collaborative UTV, Lisa Scott.
Oh, thank you, Dee. Thank you for having me. I am so excited to be here. Thank you for having me among your beautiful audience. I always get so excited when it's time to, share energy. So I am excited to be here and see how we're going to vibe and what's going to come out. Because I love the fact that we're doing this live and nothing is pre-done, none of that. You're getting straight up what the energy is for the day, okay?
Absolutely. And the crazy part about it is anytime I do a live show, right? And all heck breaks loose on the back side of the show, you know, the technology side, I just know this show is it, right?
That's how I feel. I feel the
Yes,
exact same way.
absolutely.
I feel the
So,
exact same way.
tell us a little bit about how you became a the style of coach you are. Tell us exactly what that, because you know I don't want to mess nothing
Uh,
up. Okay, so
Actually, you know what? I realized that story has been in the making since I'm going to say about 12 years old. That seems to be the age that I am thinking that so many things came into, understanding for me in terms of being able to assist myself in certain areas of life that I was having struggling with. And so that has been a journey, because when I first came out online in 2011 and decided that I was going to be a coach, um, at that time I was just talking to everybody. I thought, whatever I was saying, it was going out to everybody. But then I started to learn and grow and understand that, when you're talking to everybody, you're talking to nobody. But
right,
I also learned so much during that time, because I was able to take an aerial view of my own processes, my own systems, what was going on at that time. And I said, oh my goodness, professional women tend to gravitate toward me, toward my message, toward, whatever it is I was doing. Professional women were right there, because I myself, being a professional woman, was gravitating that audience. So, just over time of starting to hone in and understand that it was professional women that were my audience, I began to really zoom in and start to pay attention to, what is it that the professional woman is in need of. And again, took another aerial view. I'm not sure exactly how long ago, but when I did, I said, okay, I'm seeing some stuff here. I'm seeing how, because I would have a lot of people coming to me and they would be, telling me how they loved my presence online. They loved the consistency of my message and all of this. And it was like, let's hurry up and jump to the strategy. Let's hurry
right,
up and jump to the, how do I get more clients part of things.
right.
And what
Because
I start,
we don't ever want to go through the process. I mean,
right.
we want to get there.
Yes, yes, including myself. I played that part too. Trust me.
Yes, yes.
Um, but what I started to understand in taking an aerial view again, I said, okay, wait a minute. I looked at myself and I said, in order for me to really be able to be as confident as people were seeing me, to have a consistent message, to be able to come out and say what I was saying. That took some inner work.
Right.
And so my first program that I put out that I would say is like, oh my goodness, this was resonating and like, oh, this is what everybody needed, was something called Leverage Your Pain. And yeah, let's go a
Don't
little
skip,
deeper.
don't skip that.
Let's talk about it. Let's talk about it. Let's
No,
talk about it.
because you know, um, especially in the country and in the atmosphere right now, one of the things that is widely talked about is how, the Black women, especially, but I'll say women in general, we kind of aren't seen on the same level, right, as our counterpart male, right? And so for some reason, especially in our culture, I can't really speak for other cultures, but in our culture, we're taught that we have to be strong. And so we kind of like skip over our pain and pretend it's not there or put it over in the corner. We'll deal with it later. But does that really work?
Nope. The short of it is
Short
nope.
answer.
Um, yeah, I mean, all I could do was take a look at myself and say, you know what? There is not one fork in the road, so to speak, that I have ever taken where I had to make a decision about something, a shift, a change, no matter what it was. I always, 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 always needed to turn around and face what was happening with me emotionally on the inside. And no sooner than I would do that, because this is the fallacy of the messaging around facing your pain. And I know that a lot of people, you're feeling like as soon as you hear that word, you don't want to face something. It's agony, it's suffering, it's all of that. And although, yes, there's going to be some stuff that you turn around and face that, was less than desirable, is my favorite phrase these days.
Right.
um, I find that I'm just going to say, depending on who is processing that information with you, is to me what is also it's going to assist the person in a specific way in terms of how they are turning and facing that pain. For me, what I hear from my clients is that they move through it more quickly. There isn't a lot of suffering. For me, because I understand that leveraging your pain in that very messaging, I am stating that pain is simply another form of communication. And because I come at it from that way and that perspective, I am asking people to get all you can possibly get out of it. This is what leveraging it is all about. Get all of the data, all of the information, because it's inside of that pain that you are going through that you're not willing to face. But it's inside of that pain that you're going through that there is actually a personalized GPS system that when you have a conversation with that pain and it talks to you about why it's there, where it originated from, and all of that, you can get so much out of it. And when you get a message from it, and when you understand what that particular GPS system for you, that customized message for you is all about, it will help to point you in the direction of where you desire to go. So if it's coming up, it's there in order for you to process. If that is happening, it is actually a blessing. And I have learned to show gratitude and honor toward my pain, because if it did not show itself in some way, shape, or form, I would not know that something is out of alignment.
And that's important, because you said something. You said that in that pain is a GPS. And, again, because we really are not taught the value of pain, we're not taught the value of our emotions either, because, that kind of all fits in. We really shy away from it and we don't embrace it for the lesson. And that was the other thing you said, because it's not about the feeling of pain as much as it is about what it's telling you.
Okay.
And that is like light bulb moment, like it, because that's just not how we were taught. Not.
Yeah.
Okay, so we stayed there. Thank you for indulging me there, because I needed to stay for a second.
Well, that's actually, not to, because I never remember the book definition of what a metaphysician is. I
Hmm.
can only tell you who I am as a metaphysician. And, generally speaking, metaphysicians question the nature of reality itself. And in doing that, and in that being my nature as an individual, as Lisa, I'm always looking to uncover and understand something on deeper levels. So I became a scientist of myself. And on a particular day where I was sick and tired of banging my head against that proverbial brick wall, and
Right.
and actually allowed myself to feel the pain, to register that I was in emotional pain, years ago, something remarkable happened. And what happened was I heard very audibly, actually, from myself, say that with the same thoughts that brought you here, I'm going to show you with those same thoughts how to get yourself back out.
Wow.
So I heard this messaging and I'm like, okay. Like I would say that's, well, you know what? I'm probably wrong about that. I was going to say that's probably the first time I heard, audible, but no, that it's not. I would say it's just one of those forks in the road where I just remember like, wow. Um, and when I tuned into that voice, I began to become consciously aware of my thoughts in that very moment. So prior to that, I would say that just like with anyone, I was functioning on what I call autopilot. And so in that moment, as I began to, hear a thought, pay attention to a thought, become consciously aware of a thought, I was also granted the opportunity to feel through my body what that thought, how the thought, a message of a thought will actually send a communication through your body. And I began to feel that per whatever thought you're thinking, there is an actual correlating emotional response that goes through your body that is related to the thought that you're thinking. And when I became consciously aware of that, I was like, wait a minute. This is how we function. Like, this is how we end up taking an action, because you're having a thought and that thought has a correlating emotional response inside of the body. And then you respond based on that emotional. So when I realized that, that was the moment I said, okay, wait a minute. I need to tell everybody. I need to tell everybody. But I had not, at that point, I had not called myself a manifest coach.
Right.
Over time, as again, another aerial view, taking a look at stuff and assessing, I said, wait a minute, this is what they call manifesting. Like, because I had created so many changes in my own life. The first being getting rid of a lot of the physical symptoms that were going on inside of my body, because as I began to change my thoughts, the emotional response that was going on inside of my body began to be a different vibration than what I was carrying around before. And so,
Wait, don't skip. Don't
go
skip
ahead, go.
that.
You stop me. You stop me when you want to stop me. And
Right,
I wish
because
I was sharing this to my people, but I don't see how to do it. So, but
yes,
anyway, go ahead.
while you're sharing, I want to really put a pin there for a second, because I think that what's happening now in 2020 is causing a lot of us to consciously come to a bit of a slowdown in our lives, slowing down long enough for us to be aware that, you know what, yeah, I didn't like what I was doing before, or I don't want to continue in this way. Because once you, like you said, you slow down enough to see what your thoughts and what your surroundings, or what other people's thoughts, or whatever, what it actually does in your body. Because you have time to feel,
Yeah.
because when you're moving, you don't have time to feel, you don't have time to process. But this pandemic, that's what I call it,
Yeah.
uh, really has given a
I love
lot of
that.
people a time to slow down enough to really recognize how they feel in their moment, whether. And I joke with my friend. I told her, I said, for a lot of people, things are going to either get better, right, or they're going to get worse in this particular climate, because this particular climate really forces you to slow down and actually feel,
Yes.
think, and
Yes.
receive and notice, what's happening with you in your life, and that's what happened to me. So I
Hmm.
didn't want to skip past that, because
Yeah.
um prior to March of 2020, I've been going so fast. I felt like I was a hamster on a wheel. That and I knew something wasn't right, because I wasn't enjoying the process, but I just didn't have the wherewithal to slow it down. And so this year brought a mandatory slowdown, which then allowed me to be introduced and ask the right questions, so I could get to the point that I'm at now. And so,
Yeah.
yeah, introducing you. Yeah. I totally feel what you just said. Okay,
Yeah.
so
Yeah. It's like, I call it like the great reassessment. It's like where, the ability to slow down and really take an assessment of what's going on in your life, in your bit, just in every regard. I think it's an absolutely, it's, on one hand, it is what it is, outside of yourself, outside of the things that we perceive and perhaps cannot affect and change. However, the things, we have so many of those things that we can affect and change. So it's an incredible time. It's an incredible time, at the same time of it being, other descriptive words of, what it is.
absolutely. So, let's jump into the discovery that it is your mission at this time in life to help women
Yes.
really pursue their soul calling. Because a lot of us have pursued money, right? We've pursued people, right? We've pursued relationships, um we've pursued titles. But I many of us are at this space where we know we don't want what's behind us, but we're not really sure what it is that we want. And you call it a soul calling. Can you talk about what that is?
Yes, it's that thing. So let me just back up and say, I'm Lisa Scott, manifest coach to professional women who are ready to answer the call to your soul calling career by learning how to stop worrying about the how. So I have a specific process that I use in order to assist professional women through my VIP 2-hour intensive to actually go into the state of being of their soul calling. And therefore, in that process and in that state, you will have the experience right then and there of understanding how you no longer need to worry about the how. So that's specifically what I do. Um, and this has been something that, again, in taking an aerial view of every single program I have ever offered. Again, I've been online since 2011. Every single program I've ever offered, every membership I've ever offered, just everything where women were gathered together and, to have a conversation with me in some way, shape, or form. I began to really go deeper inside and say, what is it that women are um, and see with my, not only my sight but with my heart, that it didn't matter what I was sharing, it didn't matter what was going on. The unspoken, the spoken yet unspoken in terms of the program, wasn't necessarily meant for that, or what I'm about to say. um, I would hear the woman always talking about being in a space in her life that she did not want to be. She always wanted to be doing something other than what she was doing. And this had been happening over and over and over again. And it was just time for me in my heart to hear that.
Yeah.
And when I heard it, I was like, oh my good, no matter what I've ever done, this has been a consistent, something, a consistent yearning, a consistent, heart cry from the professional woman, that they're just functioning in spaces doing things that they did not want to be doing. And I said, okay, wait a minute. In understanding the toll
Yeah.
that takes on an individual emotionally,
Yes.
even though on a conscious level we're not registering the toll that it's taking, um this thing that keeps you awake at night, this message or this thing, and it doesn't have to be some giant lightning bolt, that could be a misperception of hearing that terminology, soul calling. But
Right.
I'm talking about, what is it that that it will not leave you alone?
Yeah.
It keeps coming back to you over and over again. It wakes you up at night. No matter how many years have passed, it comes full circle right back. You have all these ideas going on inside of your head, but you never implement. And I love Neville Goddard's. He calls it. Oh man, it's
While you're
wow.
while
It
you're
skipped
thinking
my mind.
while
It
you're
skipped me.
because
But go ahead.
I want to say something, because um some people may not even have the idea of what it is at the moment. They just know they're not at rest with where they are. You would you say that's true too?
Oh, yes. Oh, yeah. It is true. Now, I'm not the coach that is here to tell you what your soul calling is. So
Right.
I make sure that people understand that's not what I'm here to do.
Right.
But I will say this. I will say this. It has been my understanding that whatever it is, and it's all such a misconception. There is so much of who it is that we are. We're doing the thing that we love, we're inherently doing probably all day, every day.
Right.
It's just that because we've been taught that the things that we love, or the things that come easy, or the things that, it feels like a flow and you don't have to think about it, and all of this, we have been taught a whole nother message in terms of how hard something has to be. You have to work hard. All of this. So our attention is completely diverted from the things that we are doing inherently every day, all day, that I would consider a soul calling, um, because of the messaging of the hard work and it needing to be something that's outside of yourself, because you need to go over there and go work for that person. The model of how something comes into being is the issue
Right.
as to why people are not, more easily identifying or accepting of what their soul calling actually is. But they are doing whatever this is, they are more than likely doing it already.
Absolutely. And so in you helping the the professional woman really embrace what their soul calling is and move into that mindset or that state, right?
Hmm.
What are some of the things that are common in what you're seeing in working with them? Like, I know what I want to ask, but I can't really ask it because it's really private. Each person,
Okay.
but I guess I guess the real question is, because I know that there's someone listening and they're saying, "Oh, is is that me?" Um, what would you say are some of the clues, right? As a woman, outside of the things that you just mentioned, but some of the clues to a woman to help her really see, oh, you know what? That's what you're longing for. You're longing for your soul calling.
Yeah. If she is getting up on a regular basis, begrudging what she is currently doing, then it's
Well,
time.
well,
That's like your number one clue that you're
right,
not doing what you're not doing the alignment of who you are as a being. That love expression that naturally comes out of you is being hindered in some way, shape, or form because you're begrudging whatever it is you're doing right now. And the number one thing that I notice that would keep someone continuing in that cycle is their fear of the unknown. That's one of the things. And the next thing is, if I do step out and do this thing, whatever this is, they then automatically start trying to figure everything out. And that's not, you don't need to do that. You do not need to do that. Because your soul calling is going to, as you step into that calling, which is what I assist people to do, as you step into that, you're going to understand how much you don't need to worry about that as much as you're thinking that you need to. But we're creatures of habit, where we believe that we're in control of everything. And
right.
so, if we don't have the answer from the onset before going in or before making a move, then we're paralyzed right there from the door from doing anything at all.
Yeah. And I totally can understand that. Hence why I really connected with you when I heard you in the I think it was a birthday party, as a matter of fact. No, no, I don't,
A
you know,
virtual party, a virtual
a
party.
party, yes. In the
Yeah.
virtual party when you spoke, it really, touched me because there was something that you also brought up in that, and I know we don't have a lot of time, but I got to touch on it. You
Hmm.
talked about how there are things sometimes in your young life as a child that have happened that drastically impact how you can move forward in your adult life, and you don't even know that
Right.
there's something that has to be resolved
Yes.
in your unconscious thinking from your youth, that hinders you in your present. Can you just touch on that for a second, please?
Woo! I thought we were going an hour, young lady.
Oh,
Hmm. Yeah, that is all of the messaging that we are receiving starting at a very young age from our immediate surroundings. It's a download. Basically, we're experiencing a download of information from our parents, from immediate caregivers, from society. That is just downloading information during our most formative years, which
right.
I talked about this in a training we were in. From 0 to 6, you're just experiencing a download. And that's okay. That that state is considered the theta state, the 0 to 6 year time frame, where you are in basically a hypnotic state, where you are simply taking in information without your um, ability, I'll say, because it doesn't come until later on that you start registering that you are something called an I am. So
Right.
prior to that, you're simply, just taking in information.
Right.
So you don't have the ability at that time to halt, and due to having an understanding of an identity or an I am, say, this is not good for me, or
Right.
this is not what I want, or whatever you might assess from making a decision in terms of the I am state of being, and that state, telling you what it wants and doesn't want and all of that. Prior to that understanding, you are simply receiving downloads of information from all of the signaling, the messaging, the whatever experiences you're having in your immediate household, in your household. All of that is formulating in your mind ultimately who the I am begins to identify itself as being. So basically, this is all your self identity that, frankly, I don't understand why, but then again, I do. I was going to say, I don't understand why this isn't being taught in school at a very early age, like what this is all about, so that we can understand the power that we have in our self identification. The fact that because we're self identifying in a specific way, that way, whatever that way is, not judging it good or bad, but whatever that way is, or the conception you have about yourself based on the I am messaging. I am Lisa Scott. I am a manifest coach. I am confident. I am not confident. I am this. I am that. Um, whatever the conceptions are that you have of yourself and the self identity that you're identifying as, is what is allowing information and your experiences to gravitate toward you, but is also repelling other messaging from coming towards you based on that self identity.
Yes. And a lot of a lot of us have had some of us have had good messaging as kids. Some of us have had bad messaging as kids. And
Mhm.
until you really explore that as well, then you really won't know why you continue in certain cycles. You won't know
Exactly.
why you can only go so far, or you're driven in a certain way. If you trace it back, typically it's to that learning period and that impression period. And so it's really important. um and I say age really does it for some of us. Some of us, when you hit 40, you like, wait a minute, something not right, I don't want to do this anymore. And then when you're like me, which today is my birthday, everyone.
Oh,
um
happy birthday! Happy birthday!
and you hit
Woo!
50, at
Oh my
50
goodness.
you like, heck to the no, I'm not doing that anymore,
Yeah.
and you're really strategic about what you do, because you now can put a time on it, and you're like, you know what, I probably have more years behind me than I may have before me, so I need to hit the ground a little bit different now. So enter your soul calling. Well, we could go longer, and we've already like gone over time, but I think those points had to be said, because there's someone listening and thinking, you know what, something's wrong with me because I feel a certain way. And the truth is, there isn't anything wrong with you, other than the I am in you no longer wants to be on the back burner. It's really trying to come out so that you can live literally your best life, not going back and forth with them people. Okay. All right.
I love that.
Yes.
Absolutely.
So,
Absolutely.
Lisa, in as we wrap up, what would you like to say? Because I'm pretty sure there are some ladies on here. I've invited several. There are
Mhm.
some ladies on here that have been thinking this way. What would you like to say to them? And then we're gonna also put up your website as well.
Okay, I would just like to say that if you are experiencing on a regular basis the feeling of frustration, anger, depression, as you go about your day, every single day, all day, you do not have to walk around feeling that way. That is not your inheritance to walk around feeling bad. It is our natural state to actually feel good, or at least of an even keeled nature. And we have the right to feel good. We have the right to enjoy every single aspect of our lives, from our lifestyle to our relationships to our career, all of that. And you know what? I'm going to say it. I'm going to say, yes, you can have it all. Yeah, whoever said that you cannot have it all, I don't know what the heck they were talking about, because yes, you can have it all. That's a misconception as far as I'm concerned, of whomever self-identity it was that said you can't have it all. That was their idea. I'm not adopting that.
Um,
Um, so I would say that allow yourself, give yourself permission. That's another thing that I find myself saying and understanding, is that no matter what shifts and changes or whatever you're about to undergo, I realized for myself that I had to always give myself permission to allow, something else, allow something different, allow something greater, allow that first, so that your body can get used to the messaging of no longer accepting what feels bad and what does not feel aligned, but allow yourself to say, yes, it's okay for me to be selfish for a minute and do whatever I need to do to feel good, and figure out exactly what that is. Identify what success means to me. Success meaning all of it, your relationships, your family, your just everything. That's my biggest, message is, yes, you can have it all. Yes, you absolutely can. So give yourself permission to do that.
and you just struck another chord for me, because I think somewhere in my messaging, I thought I had to sacrifice me for the greater good of whomever. And I do mean whomever,
Mm-hmm,
right?
mm-hmm,
Whether it be the greater good of what my parents wanted, the greater
mm-hmm,
good of what my child wanted, the greater good of what any of the men I dated wanted,
mm-hmm,
the greater good of what my boss wanted, the greater good. And so I put myself for so many years on the, and I don't even think I was on a burner. Like they talking about the back burner. There was no burner. Like I
okay.
I literally lost myself
Mm-hmm,
because
mm-hmm,
I was trying to be everything to everyone else.
mm-hmm,
And that, I know there are women out there that
mm-hmm,
are doing the same thing, and you
mm-hmm,
think that saying yes to you means you have to lose everything else. And
mm-hmm.
truth of the matter is, if you lose something saying yes to you, then it wasn't there for you anyway.
Mm-hmm. Exactly. Exactly. And the biggest thing I heard as you were talking was, you have been there and collected the data on that. Collected the data on
Yep. I can. Uh-oh.
sacrificing your thoughts, your messaging, your business, your this, your that, in exchange for somebody, some other person. But also, even greater than that, is understanding it was always you doing it. It was
Absolutely.
always you making that decision. So we're taking back responsibility for the part we play in, what we've been doing. And we're understanding that we are the creators of our reality. We do have the ability to create our reality. I do it every day, all day. So if you're ready to have that experience, if you're ready to take responsibility for your desired outcomes, if you're ready to give yourself permission, if you're ready to stop to understand that you don't need to worry about the how, because the state, when you enter the state of being of your soul calling, you're not going to need to worry about that, but you're going to have to take the first step to even understand, what that even means. But
Right.
if you're ready for all of that, let's go. Let's go. Let's do this.
And I believe you have a 15-minute free consultation where you can talk to an
Yes,
individual and see, number one, if they're even at that step. Number two,
right.
you guys are a good fit. How would somebody reach you? I'm going to put it in the comments. How would they reach you?
Okay, all they have to do is go to my website, lisascott.org. And on the very first page at the top, it says schedule now. You hit that button, it opens it up to an online scheduling system, and you hit the discovery session link, which is a 15-minute complimentary discovery session where we just have a chat, see where you're at, see if we're fit to work together for you to experience the VIP 2-hour intensive.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Well, I certainly appreciate it. I really enjoyed our talk. I
Yes.
just, it's my goal through this platform to inspire, educate, and empower. And every last one of us are not in the same place. Some of us are asking different questions than others.
Mhm.
And it's my job to seek out information that helps the masses, because it's a global audience and we all are looking for something. And so I certainly appreciate, Lisa, you taking time out of your busy day to come and to share with us on the CollaborativeU TV. I put up your website, lisascott.org,
Mhm.
lisascott.org. For those of you who are interested in that complimentary 15-minute conversation, please reach out, schedule that, and just, you've asked the questions. I believe if you were led to this broadcast, then most of the time when we're led to something, it's because it's an answer to our questions.
Mhm.
So take a moment and do that. And for those of you who don't know, it's my birthday. It's my birthday. It's my birthday. And today, I really appreciate every last one of you who shouted out. Thank you, Gail Parker, for shouting out on Facebook and saying happy birthday. I thank each and every one of you. Join us next week. The Collaborative UTV will be back every Monday and Wednesday, 11 a.m. next week. I got some special surprises for you. So we look forward to it. Lisa, thank you. Have a great day. And I'm going to see
Thank
you
you.
tomorrow, ma'am.
You got it. You got it. I
All
can't
right.
wait.
Thank you,
See
guys.
ya.